This project that I've been working on, Sensory Familiar, is about our interface and our response to animals, and particularly animals that are not mammals, basically insects, reptiles, birds, animals that are slightly perhaps more removed from us on the genome. Sensory Familiar, it departs from this book called Sensory Exotica by Howard C. Hughes. And Sensory Exotica talks about how the different animals have different ranges of senses. What I thought was interesting about that book is it shows how different animals are from us in the way they sense. But also, to counter that, I thought it would be interesting to see how our senses may overlap. I was reading about Jacob Westphal, who developed this idea of the Umwelt, which is the self-world that animals and humans have, and he described this kind of example of people walking through a meadow, and when you walk through a meadow, you see it and hear it and sense it in a different way than, let's say, when a dog walks through the meadow. And so their Umwelt is a different kind of package of sensing than our sensing. I was interested in this project in looking at the idea of all these different Umwelts and seeing what happens when the Umwelts kind of coincide. The types of sensing that have grown over the past 20 years through technology make some of these kind of exotic senses quite familiar to us, like night vision, and also kind of aerial views from space, like Google Maps. They kind of enable us to see the world in ways equivalent to how animals see the world around us. So in a strange way, these exotic senses over the last 10, 20 years have become more familiar to us, and that's why the project's called Sensory Familiar. I also used the word familiar because it's sometimes used in terms of magicians as a kind of owl or an animal that accompanies one. So there's a kind of special relationship there between the human and the animal. Together with Richard Whitney, who's helped me with the programming, I've been developing a way of registering my heart rate, my emotional state, in response to my presence to certain animals at certain times. That response is relayed to a robot that draws and maps my emotional state at any given moment. And then at the end of the session, we have this kind of mapping of this kind of emotional experience. When I conceived of the project, I thought of the idea of, okay, I'm going to hold a snake and it's going to make me really anxious, and then the robot's going to go crazy and it's going to make an amazing, bizarre drawing. But as I worked more on the project, it became less about my kind of dramatic reaction to animals. It became more about how my heart rate ebbed and flowed in a kind of rhythmic way to the animal. I kind of felt that by holding the animal and working with the animal, we were actually both more responding to what was going on around us. It wasn't so much a kind of me against the animal, it was more about us within a given surrounding, and that was a kind of interesting discovery about the project.